Osaka, Japan, July 1st, 2019. In a wide-ranging interview, Fox News commentator Tucker Carlson asks President Donald Trump his thoughts about UFOs.
You gave an interview the other day in which you said you've been briefed on unidentified flying objects. Are they real?
Personally, I tend to doubt it. We have had people saying that they've seen things. I don't assume it's correct, but, you know, I have an open mind, Tucker.
To UFO experts, the president's response raises a key question. If U.S. intelligence officials have secret knowledge of alien visitations, are American presidents informed or kept in the dark? In August 2019, former British Ministry of Defense UFO investigator Nick Pope posed this question to Tucker Carlson.
Do you think he knows more than he's letting on, or do you think, as some people say, even the president doesn't know?
My impression was that the president does know more than he said. Once in office, every president has become mum on the subject. And what it tells you is they likely know something that they've decided to keep from the public. Look, I don't know what they know, and so perhaps they have a good reason to lie to the public about it, but I doubt it.
Months later, as the 2020 election year begins to heat up, several of Donald Trump's presidential challengers are asked by New Hampshire-based reporter Damon Steer of the Conway Daily Sun about where he or she stands on the issue of UFOs and government disclosure.
It's very unlikely that we're alone in the universe.
One of the things a president could do is to look into what's there in terms of what does the science say, what does our military say.
Of course we have to explore that and look at that if it is true.
Many people would be surprised to discover that 36% of all U.S. presidents have had encounters with unidentified or unexplained UFO phenomena. This, according to a recent poll, is a full 20 points higher than the number of similar encounters experienced by average Americans.
We have an extraordinary series of stories. President after president after president, either seeing a UFO, commenting on a UFO, being associated with a sighting.
It's not something that just flashed in American culture briefly. We can date it back to 1800. We can date it earlier than that. This is not a new phenomenon. Presidents throughout history have been encountering this during almost the entire history of the American nation.
Could aliens be trying to steer the destiny of America by influencing its presidents? Perhaps the answer can be found by examining the very first presidential encounter on record. Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Winter 1777. Amid freezing conditions, epidemic disease, and shortages of food, clothing, and supplies, General George Washington's Continental Army faces possible destruction.
In late 1777, George Washington was kind of at his lowest point. The Continental Army had been driven out of the national capital of Philadelphia to a winter encampment at Valley Forge. There was an optimism that they would eventually be able to push the British out of Philadelphia. But that optimism was dim and bleak in December 1777 at Valley Forge.
Years later, an aide to General Washington revealed what happened next.
Washington went out into the woods at Valley Forge to pray. And he saw this image of this spirit garbed in white that assured him, you will win this war. And the spirit laid out for Washington the history of what would be the United States of America.
After this meeting, Washington was invigorated. He was inspired. And he realized this is divine fate for the United States to exist. But he first had to defeat the British, which he did.